So you want to be a rock star? I'm not saying it's going to be easy.
Gnarly. Right into the freaking blender here.
Oh, that was tough. Blown skis. And it sure won't be glamorous. I don't want to get out. But the journey is sweet, the views are breathtaking, and the sense of accomplishment, totally worth it. Hey guys, Kerry Werner here. And through this walkthrough series, I wanted to share with you some of my Rockstar Trail experience. Give you some tricks and tips that I learned along the way that will hopefully make your journey a bit smoother, take some anxiety out of kicking this thing off, and ultimately help you finish the ride. So before we jump into the actual trail, I think we should back up and go through a bit of a pack list. And we'll start out with bags. I'm running a Blackburn design handlebar bag. It's a burrito dry bag that sits onto a cradle. I've used this for the Colorado Trail and other bike packing trips. The bag does sit off the front. It does lever a bit and can get super bouncy. It really does work out well. And if you have the strap cinched down right, and it holds everything really nicely. I'm also running a frame bag, which is also Blackburn design. And this is totally specific to your frame style. It might even be beneficial to get a custom one, depending on how much you want to do this. You're gonna want to fill as much of that empty triangle space with a frame bag. The whole goal here with packing is that you can put as much stuff on your bike as you can. That way you can keep your hydration pack empty, because it really does stink to carry a ton of weight on your back for 9 hours. I also have a big saddle bag. This is the Pro Bike Gear Discover bag, and then I put a Blackburn design dry bag in it. Both of my Blackburn design dry bags have a air valve, so that's pretty nice. You put everything in there, roll it down, kind of squish all the air out, and then you can close the valve so it stays nice and tight and compact. So yeah, those are my bags. Now let's jump into what I actually packed. So I probably have a 20-ish liter hydration pack, and I have a 3-liter bladder that goes in it. I cut the hose on my bladder and ran the filter right in line. It's just way faster this way than taking a squeeze system, which I also have for a backup. You can just dunk your whole bladder into a nice clean stream, and then you can just close it up, put it in your bag, and get on your way. And then as you're drinking through the hose, it filters, so it saves a lot of time. I also have a bowl for oatmeal in the morning, utensils, a coffee cup. This is the not so glamorous part. Food. I had 4 days, so I had 3 nights of dinners and I had 3 breakfasts worth. I kept it really simple and just packed 3 dehydrated meals, backpacker's pantry, mountain house, whatever. It's super easy this way. All you have to do is add hot water, wait until it rehydrates, and they're actually pretty good. You get a nice hot meal and they're pretty tasty. I think dehydrated food has gotten a bad rap, but this is good stuff. And then for breakfast, I just packed 3 packs of instant oatmeal per morning. Instant oatmeal, it's super boring, but it's super lightweight, packs really easy. Again, it only takes hot water to use. And I also packed instant coffee for the same reason. I am a bit of a coffee aficionado, but packing a grinder and beans and filters and a cone just seemed like a bit much. You're gonna want a stove. Stove is important for boiling water, which is the way that I made all my meals. You can get a super light stove, a white gas stove. You could just do jet boil, which is super easy. That's what I use. Heats up water really, really quick. Then in terms of snacks, you know, you leave the house with whatever you want. I picked trail mix, some Cliff Bar product, and Pop-Tart. Pop-Tarts are a good bang for your buck. In the gas station, they're like less than $1, and there's 370 calories in a pack, 2 Pop-Tarts, so it's like pretty good dense calorie amount. It doesn't really matter, you just want to pack whatever you want. You're gonna blow through that anyway, and you're gonna have to resupply out there. So for cleaning yourself, I didn't bother bringing soap because it was still kind of cold. I did this in April, it was chilly at night. I didn't think I would actually go in the water. So a nice easy way to do it without soap is to just bring a microfiber towel and some alcohol, and you just spray the microfiber towel with alcohol, wipe down your dirty bits, and call it good. Then of course at Dalthet, I had a shower and they actually had soap in there, so that was nice. Next up for tools and extra bits, I carried 2 tubes, a hand pump because a CO2 would just be waste of space. It's a one-time use thing. Plug kit with extra plugs. I also carried some volet strap, Kona branded, extra cleats, extra brake pad, quick link tool that doubled as a master link carrier. You want to carry some extra master links. You can have a multi-tool. Make sure your multi-tool has a chain brake capacity, an extra hanger, and some lube. Lube is important. We overlooked that on the Colorado Trail, and at one point we stopped and asked somebody for some. They didn't have any lube, but he did have Pam cooking oil, and that worked in a pinch actually. Then for my trip, I packed a one-person tent. As lightweight as you can go and are comfortable with is something that I suggest. Don't skimp, make sure you bring your rain fly, sleeping pad, and a sleeping bag. Then for around camp, I like to bring a pair of camp shoes, just a really simple, super light pair of flip-flops or Crocs. It's just really nice to take your riding shoes off at the end of the day. Also nice to take your riding clothes off at the end of the day. And for that, I packed an extra pair of wool boxers, and I'll stop now and say as much wool as you can pack is better. I like wool over synthetic fibers because wool actually inhibit the promotion of bacterial growth, so you don't smell as bad. It also dries really well. Just synthetic fibers like polyester, sure they're light, but man, they do start to smell. I had a wool pair of tights for after riding, a jacket, and another thing to think about is as much of this extra clothing that can double as ride clothes and after clothes is better. While on the bike, I had a long sleeve jersey that has a windstopper front and compound wool polyester. Everything else, that's one of my favorites, called compound jersey. All this stuff is from 7 Mesh. A wool blended short sleeve baggy top. It's actually this one, but it was in gray. I had a pair of baggy short, a pair of wool socks from Defeat, and a pair of wool gloves from Defeat. Then I just had a rain jacket. So the warmer time of year you choose to do this, the less extra clothes you have to bring, which is a plus. At the same time, it sure does get hot in Virginia in the summer. You might want to opt to do this in the late spring or fall. For shoes, I just used my RX9s. You're gonna want to pick a comfortable pair of shoes and also a durable pair of shoes. There wasn't a ton of hike-a-bike for me on this trip, but there might be for you. And as I learned on the Colorado Trail, you really do need a really durable pair of shoes, and that's also why I packed an extra pair of cleats, because if you're hiking on rock a lot, you can mess up your cleats and shoes pretty easily. I had the Giro Manifest helmet, which is a sweet mountain bike helmet. It's got MIPS integrated into the helmet shell for that little extra bit of safety. I picked glasses that had a rose lens or a transition lens. I used the Jewel Bow Rushes, and that was good for high light and low light. You do go in and out of the woods quite a bit on this mountain bike excursion, so that's something to think about, especially if you're pushing long days and you end up riding really close to night, or you're starting out really early in the day. I like to document these things, so I brought my Sony a6000. It's a sweet little point and shoot camera that takes pretty good photos, compact enough to fit in my stem bag. Then I had a Wahoo Roam. It's really nice to have a good computer with a good mapping interface, just because it stinks to miss a bunch of turns. You're gonna want to bring a USB charging stick. You do get to recharge at Dalthet, you have electricity, but I was pushing 8-hour days, 9-hour days, which is like right on the life of my Wahoo. So, run time was more like 11 hours. So yeah, that's just something to think about if you need that. If you don't, you probably won't want to charge your phone. If you are going to Dalthet, they don't have USB plugs, so make sure you bring a block, a 2-prong AC adapter for your USB. And that about covers it. I suggest you lay everything out in the grass, kind of like I did. That way you can take stock, and then you just got to get to packing. Weight distribution is a little important here. I like to put the heaviest stuff in the handlebar bag and the frame bag, and then the lighter stuff in the saddle bag, just so it's not swaying all over the place and there's not a lot of leverage on those seat rails, especially if you're running carbon rails like I will. Luckily, the WTB Silverado can handle some stuff. And then also, as much as you can get in your bike setup, the better. That way you can carry as little weight as possible on your back. The dream is to not need a hydration pack, but I haven't been able to do it yet. Even on the Colorado Trail when we were sharing a tent, once you put all this stuff out, you kind of go, oh man, So once I got everything packed up, I did weigh it, and it was about 65 pounds. That includes the bike and a full bladder. So if you take the bike weight out, which is 25 pounds for the hay, I was looking at about 40 pounds of gear. A really light tent would help you save weight. White gas stove would help you save weight. Getting a bunch of tie things, like a tie cup, help you save some weight. But this is what I had, and I just try not to worry too much about it. So that's about it in terms of packing. I do recommend you throw all this stuff on your bike before you just jump on the trail. Make sure everything is cinched down right, you got your weight distributed properly, all your bags are set up right, because you definitely don't want to hit the first bit of single track up off Reddish Knob and just have things fall apart. That would be really bad. So make sure you do a little shakeout ride, whether it's doing some curb drops out in the neighborhood, ripping some steps. You know, you just want to hit some bumps and make sure everything's ready to go. So now I guess we'll just pick up next time with the first episode of the trail. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comments below, what you would pack, what I shouldn't have packed, what I should have packed. Let me know. I want to know what you guys pack.